Hello physical fiends, it is Jordan here with a video to celebrate physicals on Nintendo Switch 2. There's been a lot of doom and gloom regarding the system and the lack of physical releases, but I really do think opinion is changing. Yes, we've had some blows here and there, but I think on the whole people are less worried because things are coming along nicely, even in comparison to the original Switch's first year. This video is focused on physical Nintendo Switch 2 games that are out right now. You can buy them, you can play them right now, and they are proper physical releases with data on the cartridge. No game keys are included in this video. I would feel sick. I will make a follow-up video with all the upcoming announced physical releases for the system as well, so you can see what's happening in the near future. Look out for that in the coming days, but here are the 28 proper physical releases on Nintendo Switch 2 that are out right now. I'm going to go in alphabetical order for this video. A-Train All Aboard Tourism Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is an import-exclusive physical release. It was only sold in Japan, but it does have English as a language option, perfectly playable on Western consoles, even the original Switch, because as we all hopefully know by now, it is a Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, which means it will play on the OG Switch, just without all the extras, which in this case is a much needed performance boost, as well as mouse controls, which is perfect for a game of this kind. A city management game with a large focus on the train system. Looks like a charming, fun, not so serious time, rather Japanese in its approach to a simulation game. Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is a small upgraded version of one of the Switch's biggest selling games. I know many people think they should have been working on a sequel by now. That would have been much better than a mild upgrade, which this version is, and now has mouse controls for the decorating. It's now in 4K and also has expanded online features. Where it may shine better is in the fact that in terms of the physical release, it is complete on cartridge, at least for the time being. The build that is on this cartridge is much better and much more complete than the Switch edition. It even included the latest massive update that added the hotel thing on the cart already, so even if you only have an OG Switch, this is the best physical to get. Bang Bang Bandits Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is probably out by the time you see this video. It's releasing this week as I'm recording this, and it is an import exclusive release only in Japan and seemingly Hong Kong too. However, it will play in English, and it's a fun looking gallery shooter for kids, like something you'd find at a fairground, except this time you can't actually win some sun-bleached stuffed toy, but it looks kinda nice, and this Nintendo Switch 2 Edition will look and run better than the Switch version did, which came out a few years ago. Card-en-Ciel Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is another import exclusive. Just like the original Switch physical, this Switch 2 Edition only released in Japan, but it does play in English if you want to import it. And again, this includes much better performance and resolution, as well as using the mouse to choose cards during battle if you so choose. It also includes a bit more content. This is a card battling RPG that's very much like Mega Man Battle Network, developed by the same people. Not my type of game, you know how I am, but it is a good game and a celebration of Inti Creates' franchises. ChromaGun 2 Die Hard is a recent physical release and a nice surprising one, published by PM Studios, who are being absolute legends when it comes to proper physical releases on Nintendo Switch 2. This is a clever first-person puzzle game that uses color in the same way Portal used, Portals. Compared to the original, this appears to have upped the budget, upped the ambition, and the spectacle. It looks nice if you're in the mood for something different and cerebral. And if you want it, or any of the games in this video, like you want to purchase proper physical games that you can keep, you own them, like you actually own the thing you pay money for, then you can do so with the links I've put down below in the description and pinned comment. VGP are a very nice company with free worldwide shipping on orders over 75 Canadian bucks, like 55 American dollars, not that much, pretty much like one Switch 2 physical. And any purchase made massively helps support me and this channel in the best way possible. I do truly thank you from the bottom of my heart. Plus, if you purchase via my link, you get put into a draw to have a chance of winning a $10 discount coupon each week, the winner of which I announce every Monday. So thank you for your support. Cyberpunk 2077 was a really big launch title for the system. Very important for the physical medium since it was one of only 2 Switch 2 only physical titles available, i.e. not a Nintendo Switch 2 edition sort of thing. Mario Kart World was the other one, and despite the high price, their risk was rewarded since it sold extremely well even in comparison to digital sales. Probably not anymore, considering they accidentally lowered the digital price to like half price a few weeks back, but still, this was an impressive release to show off Nintendo's new system and get some hardcore fans on board, and yes, it is great to have it physically. Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion was a welcome bit of third-party support early on. This is a sequel to an original Switch title, but is now a multi-platform release from the start. It's a mech action game with an open-world presentation. A bit rough around the edges, but I think for the budget, it's pretty accomplished. It feels a bit like Xenoblade Chronicles X, just with a different battle system. And if found on sale, it may be worth a punt. Donkey Kong Bananza was Nintendo's big single-player title for the launch window. Developed by the 3D Mario team, it truly feels like a Mario Odyssey game, but with a Donkey Kong model in place of a plumber, which was a double-edged sword, because of course, that still makes it really, really good, but also feeling a bit safe. That could just be me, but if you've got a Switch 2, it's definitely one you will need to add to your library. It's going to be an evergreen seller for the system. Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is an import-exclusive release, which I find ridiculous because this is such an excellent title that gamers of all ages can enjoy. It is the epitome of a crowd pleaser. It's an action RPG with a fun story, fun gameplay, so much to actually do, and it's level 5 being at their very best. It is a game that has a bit of everything, yet it doesn't feel shallow. If you're feeling adventurous, then I do advise importing this. It plays in English, and you will have a really nice time with it. Hades 2 Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is a really big indie release for the system. Hades 2 lives up to the hype of the original action roguelike masterpiece, and this Nintendo Switch 2 physical release is the only physical release for Hades 2, even for original Switch owners, who will probably want to add this to their collection despite being a Switch 2 physical, because as a Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, it will play on the original Switch as well, so it's a no-brainer really. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is a Koei Tecmo-developed Musou-style action game, hacking and slashing moblins with this story tie-in to Tears of the Kingdom. This one is actually canon, as though anybody would actually care about that. We just want to smash bad guys with over-the-top action. Well, it sold well, and is one of the higher-rated games in the genre. Personally, I'm more into the whimsical original style of the Musou action Hyrule Warriors with the all-star cast kind of thing, but I guess this one is a bit more edgy and cool. It's got goat people. Kirby Air Riders was always a pleasant surprise, the sequel that no one thought would ever happen. Sakurai made the original on GameCube, which was not a sales or even critical success, but it did become a bit of a cult classic over the years thanks to its variety of game modes and idiosyncratic racing mechanics. This is that game, but bigger, more refined. Some people loved how it developed, others felt there were some unnecessary changes, but overall, a nice racing addition to the Switch 2's library if you're tired of Mario Kart. Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Starcross World. There's already 2 Kirby games on the Switch. When are we getting another Kirby pinball game? Anyways, this is an enhanced re-release of a Switch classic, now looking and performing even better, but now with even more content. A couple of extra worlds to play, which only adds up to like 3 or 4 hours more at a push, but yeah, it's not exactly a whole new campaign. However, if you've never played it before, it is definitely a fantastic game to get, especially if you want to play in the fantastic co-op. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for Nintendo Switch 2 Edition and Tears of the Kingdom for Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. I'm grouping these two together since they consist of the same thing. 2 enhanced versions of the Switch classics. These don't add too much, just like better performance and resolution, and include some like guffy Zelda diaries that you need an app for, but if you somehow do not own these games already, they are extremely well worth it. They will be 2 of the best games you'll play of the generation. Majogami is an import-exclusive physical release for Nintendo Switch 2 and for Switch and PlayStation 5 for that matter. This is an action platformer that plays in English if you want to import it. It released in Japan and Singapore, the latter of which has an English cover. Having sampled the demo, I think this is the kind of game that would appeal to Sonic fans. It's about traversing the 2D levels as efficiently as possible, zipping around, while also taking out enemies in the way. It's got an interesting art style and an anime story with Inti Creates' nice character designs to, please the eyes. Mario Kart World, the launch title for Nintendo Switch 2, feels a bit daft explaining it because why would I need to explain Mario Kart World? It's like Mario Kart 8, just less pick up and play. Okay, that's harsh, but having played a ton of 8 myself, I dropped this one after just a couple of days. How about you? Let me know, send some positivity about this game this way. No one really talks about it anymore, despite it probably being the first Switch 2 game like everyone will pick up. Mario Tennis Fever, a very recent Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive release, another round of the world's, 5th most popular sport, this time sporting some fever rackets to twist the gameplay, supposedly pretty good. It didn't get massive critical acclaim, probably due to series fatigue and people wanting some other sports for a change, but those who enjoy Mario Tennis, the core fans, seem to really enjoy this one, or at least from the opinions that have reached my ears. What do you think? Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Nintendo Switch 2 edition, probably the previous year's most divisive release. Accused of chasing trends rather than setting them, it was a long decade wait to get this in our hands. Some enjoyed it for what it was, but there were equal amount of people also disappointed. It got the same Metacritic score as Mario Tennis, which no Metroid Prime ever should get. However, getting over that disappointment, or going in fresh with no expectations, you're probably getting some serviceable shooter, best played on Switch 2 thanks to the performance boost and mouse controls. Momotaro Densetsu 2, Anata no Machi mo Kitto Aru is currently the only import exclusive that is out that most people probably will not want to bother importing because it is the only one that doesn't have English. But it's still a good sign to have this physically on the Switch 2 because this is a series that is impossibly popular in Japan. It is a board game, like a game of life sort of thing, but with trains and stuff going on. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, man, this is a kind of bittersweet. And on the whole, it is great to have so many classic versions of the early Mortal Kombat games in one neat little collection. Arcade games, home console ports, portable editions, and some weird spin-off curiosities. Excellent. One of my favorite experiences of last year. However, the physical is a bit of a disappointment since Mortal Kombat 4 is not on the cartridge. It wasn't ready at the time of printing. It is added via a download update, which sucks. So the physical is less future-proof than it could be, but if you're living in the here and the now, I do like this collection. Pokemon Legends ZA for Nintendo Switch 2 edition is the first and currently only big Pokemon title that is physically on the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm still bitter about Pokopia, whatever it's called, betrayal. But despite criticism from those who, for some reason, have massive expectations of Game Freak, for me, this is a really good game. It has a smaller world than Scarlet and Violet, but it just works so much better. Despite the endless amounts of chatter, you've got yourself a solidly made action take on the Pokemon franchise. I do like it quite a lot. Before I get into the latter half of this video, if you are new here or you're not normally the kind to do so, please hit that subscribe button, okay? It will be the best thing you do today. Plus, the bigger this channel is, the more publishers will pay attention to the demand for physical media. And that's what we want, right? So do your bit, subscribe. Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma Nintendo Switch 2 edition was a launch title for the system, sneaking in amongst the big AAA releases, and funnily enough, it probably turned out just as well. This is regarded as a return to form for the franchise, as Marvelous mixed the story of Season's cozy life sim with an action RPG. This is regarded as a very good title by fans of the series, and make people hopeful for the future, now that the series is going fully on main consoles. Rushing Beat X Return of Brawl Brothers is a very recent physical release. By the time you see this video, it's probably out, or at least almost out in Europe already, with North America having to wait until April. So this game will technically appear in both videos, but this is the 4th game in the franchise and the first one in like 30 years. The other 3 were all Super Nintendo games that were considered rental fodder. It is a surprise to me that this is getting a proper physical release on Nintendo Switch 2. It doesn't look like super great, but I'm not known to be a fan of the genre to begin with, so what do I know? Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar Nintendo Switch 2 edition is another excellent game from Marvelous. It is a remake of a DS entry, but it's so much more than that. I think they knew they had something special hidden underneath the tangle of the original release that they wanted to, unlock its true potential, and they did that. I have felt some Story of Seasons fatigue recently. I didn't think they evolved it enough. The production value was a bit cheaper than I'd like, but Grand Bazaar, they really nailed it in almost every aspect. Great balance all round. One of my favorite experiences of last year. Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 edition plus Jamboree TV is a long-winded title for a game that was basically an excuse to sell a USB camera add-on. This features the well-loved bass Jamboree, which I heard Mario Party fans really love, and mashed it together with a gimmicky add-on that's pretty good if you actually have a soul. I do not. It adds some new minigames with mouse controls plus some normal minigames which are considered good, and then there's Bowser's TV, which everyone hates. Overall a mixed bag, but if you're looking to jump on board for the first time, there's no reason not to get this one over the base game. Tamagotchi Plaza Nintendo Switch 2 edition is an import exclusive release. It only released in Japan and in Singapore with an English cover, and are both playable in English if you fancy importing them. While I mildly enjoyed my time with this one, it's hard to find a whole lot of substance in the minigames, as inventive as some of them can be, like the manga one. That was the star of the show for me, but mostly it is aimed at a younger audience. Yooka-Replaylee. For me, this is a fantastic collectathon 3D platformer. Having not played the original version of this game, but heard many of the criticisms aimed at it, I went into playing this with trepidation. However, after playing it, man, it was one of my favorite experiences of last year, a great game that really took me back to the late 90s during the golden era of this genre, which was the pitch for the original game, but this remake actually succeeds, and being on a proper Nintendo Switch 2 cartridge, it's just the cherry on top. If you like platformers, you should definitely give this one a shot. And there we have 28 proper physical releases on Nintendo Switch 2 that are out right now. Soon it will be 30. If I don't get the second part of this video out in the coming week or something, I'm going to be behind. So please look forward to that in the coming days. And if you want to purchase any of the ones included in this video, please do so via the links in the description and pinned comment. I greatly appreciate that, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. Take care.